I will do the thing that I'm terrible at, which is play with the tablet. When are we getting got right now? Pidgin, which I think is even more chicken-like. So let's see if I do this. Oh, wonderful. Oh no, I'm gonna have to remember what happens to all of these, all of these branches. No, okay, that was less wonderful. YouTube, welcome back. Working on the Sakrat family. I don't know if you've been following along. If you have, you will have seen that we have started to make a lot of descendant languages for this proto-language. And let's not stop now. Let's do more. But before we do too much, I think we need to clarify what the genetic relationships we're creating are all about. So let's do it. Let's go into the side webcam. There we go. So this is what we're dealing with. We have B1, B2, B3. These are the branches, 3 branches of the language that come off from Proto-Sakrat. And then B2 branches into a bunch of different languages, sub-branches. So we need to clarify this because this is getting confusing. And that's what we will do now. To that end, I will do the thing that I'm terrible at, which is play with the tablet. So let's see if I do this. Oh, wonderful. Okay. That was less wonderful. Come back, color. There we go. And there we go. And now we are here. Okay. So let's look back at our chart. I'm going to move this over to the other window so I can see it while I'm doing this. So we have at the top. So we have Proto-Sakrat. Let me make sure that you can see that all right. Yeah, okay. I mean, you can see it modulo my terrible handwriting. That's supposed to be a T. And Proto-Sakrat breaks off into 3 branches. Branch 1, and we have this in mind as the branch that sort of stayed in the homeland. We have branch 2, and we have branch 3. And a 3 is not written like a C, it is written like a 3. Okay. So then what happens is branch 2 branches off into branch 2.1, and branch 2.2. And then 2.1 itself branches off into branch 2. Yeah, okay, we're still visible. 2.1.1 and branch 2.1.2. And these are all going to have better names, but for now. And then we even have 2, yeah, right? 2.1.2. Good. Okay. Then we have 2, branch 2.2, which branches off into branch 2.2.1 and branch 2.2.2. So you're seeing me at the sort of limit of my ability to keep track of all of these things in my head. And so let's take an example word to show what's happened in each of these. So let's take our word for C, kusli. And so in Proto-Sakrat we have kusli. Sorry about the overlap there. That's our proto form. And then in B1 we have so far relatively unchanged kusli. In branch 3.1 we have in branch 3, and actually we have a descendant language of branch 3, branch 3.1. We have lost well, in branch 3, nothing much has happened. Kusli. But in branch 3.1, and I really have to make sure I'm able to show you all of this on the same thing. I really need more sound. I really need more screen space, I think. How many monitors? I didn't realize how many monitors I'd need to do this. We have the loss of U and some metathesis. So we have skli. Yeah, okay, you can see that. So then we have B2, and I will get back to the chat soon. I just can't see it because I've got all of these windows up. So I'm not ignoring your comments. In B2, we get the loss of the vowel quality. Oops, I've chosen a different color here for some reason. No matter. We have a loss of the vowel quality in the minor syllable, and that contrast being transferred to the preceding consonant. So we have quasli. And then in 2.1, we just lose that vowel. Oops. We lose that vowel, so we have xli. So let's see if I can make that a bit clearer. Xli. In 2.1.1, this xli turns into kli, because SL turn into something like HL, which turn into the lateral fricative, and then kla becomes tla. And so the same thing actually happens in 2.1.2. Then in 2.2, what happens is we lose this vowel, like in 2.1, but the secondary articulation spreads across the entire cluster. So we have kusli. I think I saw someone mention that there's some real schwa vibes there, and I agree. And if you don't know what that's referring to, check out the Ruining Tokipona series. And then in 2.2.1, we lose this secondary articulation, and it gets put back onto the vowel. So we get xlu. All right. And then in 2.2.2, we lose the secondary articulation, except it gets put onto a glide. So we actually get we at the end, and as in an unrelated change, S turns into H, and then we get klui. So that H ends up aspirating the initial stop, and yeah, there we go. There are two more languages which I've neglected to mention, but I don't think we have room for them. But they descend from 2.2.1. And so we have, see if I can get enough space on this. So we have B2.2.1, 1, and B2. Oh no, that's all. So we have one descendant language of this B2.2.1. Okay. Yep, I got it. It's all up here, sort of. And what do we have in this language? We have the reintroduction of schwa through epenthesis to break up illicit syllable clusters, and we have a bit of metathesis. So we have skalu. And that's what we have so far. Okay. So I'm going to return now to the chat. Whew, that was tough. And yeah. And I'm not exactly sure where the stress is on your name. Is it Soton or Soton? You'll have to correct me or guide me on that. But yeah, maybe in retrospect, it would have been better to call these branches A, B1, And I think that's what we'll probably do from now on. Excellent idea. There's a question in from Pixel Music if I have any experience in neography for conlangs. I do. And in fact, this is something that I have vague plans to do on this channel, but we might need Lucy's help a little bit for that because, as you can see, me, art, live, not ideal. Lucy, on the other hand, is a real pro. Oh, neography is creating writing systems. Yeah, neography. So, I see... Yeah, it's a school... This is like a school poster where everything's in big letters at the start and then you gradually get smaller. Oh dear, it's all real. Okay, so this is basically what we've got going on here. And to put it into connection with the rest of the work that we've been doing with the call languages, I want some of these to be in contact with some of the call languages. And as a 1,000 subscriber special, we will be, I think, making a Sakrat call pidgin. And so one of these languages and one of the call languages, maybe Linguistics, I don't know, I've just got a real soft spot for that language. We're going to make a pidgin, and then we're going to see some effects of contact on both languages, most likely. Because the sort of world building idea is that the Sakrat languages are spread far and wide through sea travel, and will end up being able to become very divergent over time and with the effect of contact with the other language families in this kind of world building project. So that's the big picture. Oh, Sotin. Oh, okay. Yeah, Sotin. That I did not know. And making a pidgin is something that we're kind of in a unique position rather to do, because we have started work at least now on two families that are very, very different. And so I think we can have some fun with that. And it's going to lead us into other questions about what it is this world is that we're building. And so we've got some plans to do some fun, more world building stuff. Maps might be involved at some point. So yeah, that's the general gist of the plan, but let's return to the language and let's derive some more fun forms. Got to stay hydrated as well. Rising Rose isn't here to tell me to stretch, and look what happens. Okay. Let's make some more forms. What's gonna be fun? I see we haven't done anything for Lupit for B211 and 212. I am going to start forgetting what the sound changes are for all of these because I've kind of bitten off more than I can chew, but that's what happens. So we have Lupit. I think we're going to need to do something about this. I think we're going to need to metathesize here. Yeah, because these are two, a lateral and a stop. I'd rather metathesize than geminate there. At least in 212, we have this option of geminating. But I think not. Yeah. Okay, so we have pleat, mal. That works. What else do we have to do? Let's see if we can have fun with another form. I think daslor would be a good one to do. So let's first do our B1, B2, and B3. So we have daslor, and daslor. And then we can finish off the 3 family by getting rid of this vowel. And what did we have going on in 3? Oh, no. I forgot one thing for 3. It's not daslor, it's maslor. Because the voice stops nasalize. And then we lose the vowel, so we get mslor. Did we do anything with the S there? This is a metathesizing language. So me mslor, smlor. That could work. Smlor. And then what are we going to do here? The slor in B21, we go to slor. And then we get a nice form in D211 slor. And for 212, we have this this love of geminates. So what we could do, I don't know if we really need or have any desire to geminate anything of it in this because it's nice and rising sonority. Slor. Yeah. We can leave that. Okay, so this one doesn't have as many variant forms, sadly. And then in 2-2, we have deslor turning into slor. And I think it just goes as slor, which is kind of sad. But here we get slor, maybe tsalor. And because we reepenthesize schwa here. And slor here. Okay. Vocalization of a lateral. That sounds fun. Maybe we could do that in one of these. Maybe in... what's one that we need to spice up a bit? Maybe we could do it in B222? B2222. So we could do cow and swore. So when it's beside a back vowel, it will turn into a W. Cow, swore. That's kind of fun. Do we have any other instances of this? Pluit. No, but oops. Yikes. But wow. When are we getting pukak? Pukak. Right now. All right, what's going to happen with pukak? Oh no, I'm going to have to remember what happens to all of these in all of these branches. No, okay. So we get pukak in B1. We get pukak in B2, which I think is even more chicken-like. And we get pukak in B3. I'm going to need to have the others as reference. So I'm just going to go up here and ruin our order. But I'm going to put it here so I can at least know what I'm doing before we've written out all the sound changes. That's going to be fun, by the way. Putting all of these into Lexergy. Yikes. What am I signing myself up for? All right, so what happens in 3-1? We lose our vowel, and we pkak. This one likes to metathesize. Pkak, kpak. I don't know if either of those is better than any other. Yeah, we may want to simplify that because we have this language has the prenasalized stops, and then other than that, it has strictly rising sonority. So we may actually just end up deleting one of these stops. Word initial geminates are not going to survive, I think. Raven. That's a good point. So what might happen is we could turn them into adjectives. We could turn them into some other kind of phonation, like what happened in Korean with that tense voice, which ends up throwing off high tone, I believe, later on. And Neku, oh, that's a really cool idea. So if an initial L follows by a consonant, if an initial L is followed by a consonant, it vocalizes. So let's see if we can. Okay, let's take a brief detour because I really want to try that out. So here we have something like Ulpit. Where's our language that vocalizes? So instead of pluit, we get opuit. And then we vocalize that L there. Yeah, I like that. Ejectives, we're going to introduce ejectives. I just don't know where yet. So if you see anything, if you see any one of these branches that seems to cry out for, not enough has been done to it, let's put ejectives in there. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah. Jack attack. Yeah, basically, I mean, we do definitely need more words, but right this second, we're just sort of playing out the changes in the ones that we've got. Although feel free to shout them into the chat, and if I catch it, I'll put it in. And if I don't catch it and I haven't put it in, when this goes up on YouTube, just put it in the comments, and then I'll get it that way. Okay, what was I doing? Oh yeah, Pukak. So we need to derive Pukak in the B2 branches. So what happens here? We just get Pukak, and then we have our language that our language that deletes. So in this language, we delete and we harmonize. Well, we've already harmonized the voicing across the cluster. So this might be a place where we want to put in ejectives. Could be. And then in this one, we back. We turn that PK cluster into a geminate. And then in 2.2, what do? This is the one with the sort of Russian style secondary articulations in the clusters. And so here we have quack, and in 2.2.1 those go away and the secondary articulation gets put back onto the vowel, and so we get this open O here, I believe, is what it should be. Not yet. No, it should be, right? Manol. Okay, I'm going to leave that for now because I think I've mixed up the parallelism of that yeah to that ya to eh and wa to o change. But at some point, I forget where, we are going to turn this into o. So I think it really should be here. 2.2.1. Yeah. It should have been there. That's what it should have done. It's all good. Hopefully there's at least some amusement in trying to watch me figure this stuff out on the fly. So this is pkok. And then in 2.2.1.1, we epenthesize a schwa. And then in 2.2.2, what do we do? What do we do? we do quack. Yeah. Yeah. B2 has ducks, not chickens. Okay. So, instead of the word initial geminates in one of these languages, we could do ejectives. Yeah, so do we have multiple languages with word initial geminates? I almost feel, I'm with this idea, this is kind of like the maximalist language family. So whenever we do a change, I kind of want to branch off a language that doesn't do it so that we can have as much fun as possible. But yeah, what I was thinking is, what we haven't done is, and just tell me what you think, we could do like the sort of P Celtic thing where qua becomes pa. So we have to find somewhere that has it. Here, 2-2. So maybe, I don't know, we don't have any opportunities to do it except for here, and I'm already kind of happy with the way they look. And I don't want to introduce another branch because I think I'm at the limit of my cognitive capacity to handle them all. Let's just pocket that, and we may want to return to it. Qua to pa. Qua to pa is actually a very common change. It's happened over and over again. What happens is when you have qua, you have a velar or a dorsal gesture. So the back of your tongue is going up to make the ka. And you have a labial gesture, which is the rounding. So the labialized ka is qua, right? And so you have these two gestures, the labial gesture and the dorsal gesture. And what can happen is the dorsal gesture is actually making a stop. The labial gesture is not. But what can happen is those gestures get mistimed, and you can end up doing something like pa instead of qua. So pa, and then pa just becomes pa because you're already making the stop here. The velar closure can't be heard as well, and so that's at least one explanation of how that might happen. Yeah, so this has happened in Celtic languages. This has happened in Romanian. This has happened in the history of French as well, to a limited extent. Which is, trying to think of an example that's simple that I can... Well, it's not a simple example, but aqua to o is a good example, and I actually have a video from early on in this channel's history where I talk about that. So you can look that up. But if you're curious about the details and you want to see me struggle with that sketchbook software, truly early days. Okay. Let's do one more, and then maybe we'll wind down and just chat. We can just chat. Okay. Okay, so here's something that we haven't looked at. These consonant R clusters. Why don't we turn them into retroflexes in one of these branches? I think that would be fun. Oh, if Native Lang's done it, he's done a better job than me. So go watch that video. That's all right. So here we have dras, and this isn't going to be that interesting with our changes yet, but I'd like to, maybe we can actually do something in B1. No, not yet. So let's do it in B2. So here we're going to have coronal plus R clusters turn into retroflexes. So dras will become das. Das, and then I think more or less this is going to just percolate all through with no changes yet. And then in B3, it might just stay dras. So that's something that can happen. Maybe let's see if I can find an example where this cool thing might happen. Okay, so now we have a contrast between the clusters ending in R that arise as a result of the deletion of the initial syllable, and the clusters that arise as a result of just having a cluster of the proto-language. So let's see if we can find a good example. Do we have one? Darás. Okay, so this is great. This is great. We have dras and darás. So here we have darás. Here we have darás. Now we have darás and dras contrasting. Here we have das and darás contrasting. And here we have das and dras contrasting. So we maintain the contrast even though the shape of the contrast changes over time. You know, the tale as old as time. And then what we might do, I don't know. Let me look up the index diachronica to see what happens to retroflexes. So what do we have here? We don't have a lot of examples. Does anyone in the chat know of any sound changes where retroflexes do anything fun? What's the website I was just on? The one where I was doing this. This is just actually it's an app. It's called Sketchbook. Just lets you essentially draw with a graphics tablet and a stylus. If that's what you mean. Yeah, sadly, index diachronica is not giving a huge amount of stuff for retroflexes, but we see it going to, we see it affricating in a bunch of cases. So maybe we can do that since this language likes affrication. So we have jiban and dras. Something like that. Kind of reminds me of Mandarin, actually. And then this one stays dras. So we have dras, dras. That works. And here we stay dras. Oh, we could have da turn into ra. If that's the, I don't know if that's the trill or the tap. The font's a bit small, but let's say, do we have any cases of that? We'd have to have something where, yeah, I like that, where we have da turn into ra intervocalically. I just don't have an example of that yet. Sad. Okay. Okay. Oh, the IPA keyboard. That is literally, I'll just type it here. Ironically, not so ironically, the website is called Type It. So it is at ipa.typeit.org/full. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful site. Okay, let's finish dras here, and then maybe we could call it a day because I feel my throat getting a bit tired. So we are going to let's finish B2. So I think we have basically dras for most of these. This will not stay, but and I know that you've given so many wonderful suggestions. I'm going to review this afterwards because the bandwidth of this device up here is not great. But with a bit of review time, I'll be able to assimilate all of your suggestions. Okay, and then in B3, the big change is voicing of, or nasalization of voice stops. So daras goes to maras, and in fact, this should become mras. And then we have a total merger in 3-1. So dead and bay are both mras. That's kind of cool. All right. Okay, I have a chance now to look at the chat. So, what if in some line the retroflex is unretroflex and turn vowels low and back? Interesting. I'm very much into this idea of the retroflex is unretroflexing in one of the branches. But is it the case that retroflexes lower and back vowels? That I do not know. My retroflex skills, or at least my, I haven't done a lot of reading about retroflexes. In recent years anyway. Maybe I'd have 10 years ago. I don't remember. Do we have an example where retroflexes change vowels like that? Retroflexes can be RTR. Quay mentions that Mandarin doesn't allow E over after retroflex. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we centralize. So if we have like EA, maybe those can go back to some sort of or after the retroflex. Don't think we have an example of that here. But let's put that in. Where are we going to put that? Maybe we could put that in B2211, so we lose retroflexes here. So it just becomes das. And then if we had something like dri or something like that, where would be good? Do we have one of those? I don't think so. Oh, we've got so many good things to do. Nrit. So maybe nrit would become nit or something like that. In so do I have the nut. Some of these central vowels, I don't know. Something like that, maybe. We could do that. Okay, I think I'm going to stop, lest my voice get completely exhausted. But this has been a lot of fun, and I think, we won't stop the stream yet, but I'll stop recording for YouTube, and then we can just chat a bit. Let's see. Okay, YouTube, thank you so much for joining, and what a fun time we've had. I don't know. This has been a great time for me. Come back to see more, I guess, is what I'm supposed to say, right? And now I have to do a sort of a freeze frame for the end. Maybe I always love those freeze frames in like 80s sitcoms where someone's, doing their everyday activities and then they're caught sort of, and then the credits come up. I don't know if we can do something like that, Lucy. Thoughts for the future. But here, okay, I'll end YouTube like this.